We need to reduce spending. We need to reduce our debt, refill our treasury. We need to reduce foreign assistance. Our representatives are arrogant. We need to get back to work and stop living on public assistance. How many of you would generally agree with that? Those words were spoken 2,000 years ago by Cicero, who was the Roman consul. 6 years before the end of the Roman Republic, which was 4.5 centuries old. I'm not saying we're going to necessarily go that way, but it's food for thought. If you allow your government to get out of control and you don't fix it, things happen. And I think it's time for us to stand up and say, enough's enough. I'm Mike Bendas. I'm running for 3rd Congressional District against Dan Lipinski. I'm a West Point graduate, a retired Army colonel, business consultant, and I'm just kind of angry. I look at our deficit, I look at the way we spend money, and it's rather insane. For example, a kid is born, and by the end of this decade, the day of his birth will owe $65,000. That would be his share of the national debt. Does that make sense to anybody here? $4,000 will be his share of the interest the day he's born. All right? We can fix that, but we need to stop spending. We need to get things under control. We need to get Washington under control. How do you do it?
How you doing?
50 years ago, if somebody was a cobbler and they came from Europe and want to set a business up, they rented a place, maybe it sat down in the basement, and they started working, and they paid their taxes. You think you do that in a small business today? You'd have EPA, OSHA, the IRS, and about every other regulation. We need to bring those regulations down so businesses can work. The second thing, businesses can't get loans right now. How many of you are small business types who work in a small, medium-sized business? All right, that was a bad one. Businesses are having trouble getting loans. We need to make that. We pumped hundreds of billions of dollars into the large banks. Don't you think maybe they ought to be lending to small companies to create jobs? We need to get the tax rate down. We pay 35% business tax. The highest in the industrialized world, by the way. The average is, by the way, 15 to 20% for Germany or Canada, Japan, and so on. It's a lot less than ours, and that puts our businesses at a disadvantage. The fourth thing is I believe we should give a $1,500 tax, or not a rebate, directly to companies that hire somebody. For 24 months, we give $1,500 a month to lower the threshold in this time of uncertainty. We do that until unemployment comes down below 7%, and then the program stops. Now, some people say it's another government program. Yeah, it is. But 3 million jobs could be created for $108 billion, minus what they pay, people pay in payroll taxes, minus what they pay in income taxes. How many foreclosures would you prevent if you had 3 million more people employed? Okay? We need to break that cycle, because the only way we're going to work out through this is through business growth. We can't tax enough and we can't cut enough. We can make some reductions, and we need to get American business moving. I'm in favor of a constitutional amendment, limiting term limits to 12 years in the House of Representatives, 18 years in the Senate. That's enough. We don't need somebody there for 40 years. Charlie Rangel was a Marine hero in the Marines. But then after 40 years in the House, when that property started, now, frankly, he's corrupt. Well, when you're in there, the power corrupts. Of course, absolute power corrupts absolutely. He's a very powerful person. He's gone too far. His term limits at 12 years will end someday. Okay, we need to do that. We need to help business get going. We need to work as a nation, moving away from the concept of entitlement back to what made our country, which was individualism, individual responsibility. That's why I believe in a hand up, not a handout. I also believe in America first, party second. I'm not real happy with either party, to be perfectly blunt. Republican Party has failed to do a lot of things that it should have done in the early 2000s when they had the opportunity and they didn't take it. We need to get new people in there and say, let's fix America. It can be done, but I need your support. folks. I'm going against Dan Lipinski, he's part of the machine. Everybody knows about the nepotism. Does everybody not know about how he got into office? Okay, he moved up from Tennessee when his dad gave him the seat. So let's get some people in there, not just me, but some other good candidates. I don't care what party. Good candidates with character, are willing to work for you. And the other thing is, if they don't produce, fire them in 2 years. And if I don't work, fire me in 2 years. Okay? Elect somebody else. That's my job. My job is to represent you if I'm elected. Any questions?